Hello,
Right.
hi. So I'm Hannah. I'm one of the CT2 psychiatry doctors working with Dr. Raj Attavar, who we've got with us. So Dr. Attavar is a consultant psychiatrist in intellectual disabilities. Thank you for agreeing to talk to us about your experience and giving us a little insight into the past history of psychiatry. So I thought we could start. Could you tell us a bit about your experience and your journey into becoming a psychiatrist?
Thank you, Hannah. I trained in India, in India, and it was through the Bangalore University. I trained in a place called Tumkur, and it was very much a medical model of training. But what interested me in psychiatry was that the amount of mental health problems which is completely undiagnosed in surgeries, and they were reluctant to ask for help, and there was stigma around mental health problems. Um, which then led me to look at how best to gain that knowledge. And I came to UK in 1997. I had to take a conversion exam called PLAB, and following which I trained in initially at the Royal Free and Associated Hospitals as my core trainee, and later on I was lucky to train in St George's, which is South London, and absolutely loved being trained there. I I have met some amazing psychiatrists, some amazing friends, and whom I still keep in touch, and some amazing patients over the journey. So it's been a fascinating time for me.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting to hear, and you've not had sort of a conventional journey in psychiatry, so it's really interesting to hear your journey. Um, just thinking about sort of how psychiatry was practiced previously, and maybe you could tell us a bit about how it is in India. What do you think are some of the aspects of psychiatry that have improved from when you were practicing many years ago to sort of today's practice? What do you think are the main aspects that have improved for the better?
Yeah, so in India, there is still a relative lack of number of psychiatrists to the population to meet its needs. And there is a split between psychiatrists who are really good, but they work in the private sector. There is also a small group of psychiatrists who do work in the government sector, and they see a large number of patients in their clinics and outpatients. There are still many hospitals with huge number of beds, like the asylum type of psychiatry. But things are changing in India. One of the biggest barriers to psychiatry in India, other than funding, is the number of psychiatrists coming out through rotation. Very few of them do train in psychiatry. But second is the stigma. Stigma is still huge about acceptance of mental health problems and also seeking help for psychiatry. Um, and that has changed to some extent in the UK. Um, when I came to hospital in UK to train, I was fortunate enough to be in a time when we were still junior house officers and senior house officers, where you could train up to 8 to 10 6 months jobs before you took your part two of your examination and qualify. So you had the opportunity to rotate through many hospitals, and work with many consultants and different sets of patients. So you learned that skill, which I think is a shame, which we've lost with the modernizing medical career, because it's all streamlined to becoming consultants. So there is no uh, delay in becoming consultant. So there is sometimes things we lose by streamlining the process.
Yeah.
Um, I have also noticed how the impact of information technology like computers might have had on patient care. On one level, we get some amazing work which we've done in the pandemic through Zoom consultation, through medical electronic medical records and training. On the other hand, we also spend a lot more time in front of the computer updating medical
Yeah.
records. So there is a benefit and a loss at the same time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're there's a lot more documentation, a lot more time spent on in meetings, that sort of thing. Whereas maybe previously there was more time spent in clinical settings and directly with service users. And what do you have sort of tips for future generations coming into psychiatry? Maybe junior trainees like me. Any tips that you have from your sort of long career?
I think it's psychiatry is such is changed so much, or my training. and it continues to evolve and get really exciting. And I'm really looking forward to the new trainees coming through there. They're full of enthusiasm. There is so much of changes have come through, not just in the field of medicine, but it's also in looking at non-pharmacological ways of managing therapy, moving forwards with multidisciplinary ways of working with patient psychiatry. We're also seeing integration between primary healthcare and secondary healthcare, which will be really good for our patients. I've seen the patients taking more and more active part in their recovery, helping writing their own care plans, supporting them with their journey of recovery. And I think that's a really exciting time. I also think that this pandemic has allowed us to pause and reflect on what we have achieved and how quickly we can adapt and change. At the Royal College of Psychiatry in the last year and a half, most of the Royal College of Psychiatry training has gone online, which is fantastic. Also, the college examination, the CASCs, have gone online, which again reduces the impact of people not having to cancel the exams, but they can take the exam without the fear of catching COVID or transmitting COVID, which has all been amazing.
Very quickly sort of transformed to being online, or hybrid models of working as well. So yeah, that's all been very positive. Thank you very much for giving us that insight. That's really, really helpful.
And all the best for your psychiatry training.
Thank you very much.